I'm Jason Palmer, one of the hosts of The Intelligence, The Economist's daily current affairs podcast. The Economist's award-winning shows make sense of what matters, from our special series on China's president to our weekly podcasts on business, technology, and American politics. Our journalists provide fair, in-depth reporting on the events shaping the world. Search for Economist Podcasts Plus and sign up to our free 1-month trial.
Today on CityCast Philly, it's been just over a month since the city moved the Intercity bus stop from Market East to Northern Liberties. Since then, there's been mixed reviews about the changes. I'm speaking with Mira Rindy, investigative reporter at Billy Penn, about what travelers and business owners nearby are saying. It's Wednesday, December 20th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Mira Rindy, investigative reporter at Billy Penn. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Trenae.
Mira, this story has just been a continuous conversation this year, especially for people who really rely on Greyhound, Peter Pan, Megabus, and Flixbuses. Before we get into just how things have been in the first month of this new bus stop relocating from downtown to Northern Liberties, Mira, can you just remind us why it was moved in the first place?
The city's main intercity bus stop, that is for Greyhound buses, Peter Pan, some of the other carriers, was in Center City, right next to Reading Terminal for something like 35 or more years. And then in June, Greyhound shut down the station and started picking up people and dropping people off on Market Street near 6th Street, along with some of the other carriers. And that created a whole problem there, which got a lot of attention, a lot of newspaper editorials about how there was no shelter, no bathroom. Passengers were clogging the sidewalks. SEPTA had to suspend a bus stop or move a bus stop because of all the traffic there. So that's where this really started. After all those complaints about Market Street about a month ago, the city moved that sort of consolidated bus stop terminal station, whatever you want to call it, up to Spring Garden at the edge of Northern Liberties.
And this was all curbside on 7th and Market Street, 6th and Market Streets. There was no waiting room and no public restrooms. And Mira, I know you've been following this story. Just remind us, what passengers, how they felt. What were they saying about the bus stop moving from the original 10th and Filbert Streets to Market Streets?
The old station on Filbert Street wasn't anything fantastic, but it had bathrooms, it had seats where you could wait, there were vending machines where you could get snacks. And now people are just being dumped on the streets. People coming into Philadelphia for the first time on a bus from far away would just get out and find themselves on the street and, where am I? And what is this place? How do I get to where I need to go? There's no bathroom. There's no shelter. What if it's snowing? What if it's super hot? What if I have to wait for a long time? People were just camping out on the sidewalk for hours if their buses were delayed. So there was a lot of people were very upset about it for a while.
More on this story after a quick break. This is CityCast Philly. Okay, Mir, can you paint us a picture? What's been the experience for passengers at the relocation in Northern Liberties? What do things look like now?
So it's a stretch of Spring Garden, which is a pretty major street. It's very eastern end around Front Street, almost at Columbus and the Delaware River. There's not a lot there. There's some parking lots. There's a little strip mall with actually a gentleman's club, Delilah's. It's right there. There aren't really restaurants. I guess there's a gas station nearby where you could buy some snacks. But it's sort of a wide open, you could almost say bleak area. It's right next to I-95, so there's a lot of traffic noise. It's very windy. You're near the river. Again, there's no shelter. There's no bathroom. There actually is, I should say, a ticket office around the corner. So there's a little bit of shelter with 16 seats, but most people didn't seem to know about it. So it's a very wide open sort of no man's land on the edge of the city plenty of places for buses to pull up, but not a lot else going on right there.
So you're telling me a shelter with only 16 seats, and it seems like there still aren't bathrooms for passengers. I mean, how are riders coping?
Yeah, well, people are camping out on the on the sidewalk. They're wandering around in that little strip mall there, the little shopping plaza, which has just a few businesses. And that's been a concern, actually. I talked to a couple of the business people who say people are just standing in the parking lot. There's actually a car rental place there, but people are having problems renting cars, and driving around's a little slightly treacherous because there are people just wandering around waiting for their buses. One business that's really been affected is this dry cleaner that's in the little shopping mall there. They're right next to the sidewalk. And so people are coming in there all the time trying to use the bathroom. They want to buy bus tickets. The company has had to hire a security guard to keep people from coming in all day long. They say they've been losing business because of it. So they've really, it's been a big impact on them. And so they're hoping for some sort of improvement in the situation.
Mm.
Another big issue is wheelchair accessibility. A group of disability advocates went out there and had a lot of very specific complaints about the site. They note, in addition to the lack of bathrooms and drinking water, they said there weren't people helping wheelchair users board buses. The signage wasn't very good for people who have vision issues. It's windy and cold, super loud, air quality problems because of all the traffic. That little ticket office is not very accessible for people in wheelchairs. And there are a bunch of other issues, including there is a SEPTA train station, subway station right by there, which is very convenient, but it's not wheelchair accessible. And there's an escalator that is pretty narrow and would be hard for a lot of people to use. And in fact, it was broken when I visited there a couple of weeks ago. So some people say, this is just what bus travel is like these days. You just do it all curbside. You just have to get used to it. You have to use the bathroom before you get there, I guess. But other people, especially people who are waiting for a long time or people who don't know the area, are saying this is just unacceptable. Other cities have real bus stations. Why can't Philadelphia?
Are there any workers to help people navigate how to, use these inner city buses?
The city has posted people there. There are police there for most of the day into the evening until kind of late evening. There are also street ambassadors who are sort of like security guards, but sort of also to provide information and guidance, who are there for similar hours through most of the day. I mean, their job is really to control traffic, keep an eye on behavior. They're not really guides exactly, but there is definitely a presence throughout the day.
I mean, Mayor, what has the city said in response to some of these complaints?
The city says, in part, it's a complex problem because they don't have complete authority on their own over bus company operations. If Greyhound wanted to operate from the curb, they can't exactly say no. They could deny Greyhound a right to use the curb anywhere, but then the city would lose that bus service, and that would be a huge loss for a lot of people who depend on that. So Greyhound and the other carriers, I guess, don't want to pay for a real facility, and so the city is struggling with how to handle that. And they also have specific responses. For example, on the disabled access issue to local transportation, they say there are buses that are wheelchair accessible that come by there, and they do note that they're working on putting together a bathroom that will be weatherproof or weather resistant. So they say that'll happen sometime this month. But they also say, given the complexity of it, they can't really say when or if there will be a permanent station and where that might be.
Now, I heard you mention that you visited the site a few weeks back. Would you ride the bus from this location, or have you?
I haven't taken inner city buses a lot lately. I used to when I was younger. I would take the megabus to New York and go to Boston, and I've taken Greyhound before. If I were taking a bus, I think I would be able to use this site. I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out there. I would try to take an Uber there. That's what a lot of people are doing. They're Ubering there and to other places. Or I could take the subway, I guess, and get on the bus, get off the bus. But it's not a place you'd want to hang out.
All right. That was Mir Rindi, investigative reporter at Billy Penn. Mir, thanks so much for bringing the story to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Trinae.
We'll have a link to Mir's full story in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye. What did you hear from passengers? Because I know you covered this story. Whoa, okay, there's a train.